we should be. Yep, got it. We live now. So, we're gonna be covering today, Crystal, like I said, the market and play. And the reason why I really
Okay.
like to use that term play because it's like it's like in sports. You got the play that you need to run. If you run this play, you'll get this certain result. And that's really like the mindset you wanna, take with, getting this information, writing it down, and just trying to think like challenging the information to think outside the box, like think a little bit
Right.
differently than how you currently thinking. And anytime you apply these methods, you pretty much running running the specific play. So we got the market in play, and this is how you're gonna grow your audience in 2023. I've been looking at a lot of different theme pages, reading a lot of blogs, using AI to really figure out these algorithms on these different apps. And these seem like the best ways to like grow an audience, shall you stay, consistent with the activities. So,
Okay. Consistent.
yep. So we got the first one right here. This is going to be reviewing your goals. So anytime before you start anything, to run any play, to strategize any plan, you want to look at what your goals are going to be. So we're going to look at those weekly, at the very, I would say really daily, ideally, but weekly at the very, very minimum, and quarterly, um, as far as action oriented. We're going to have our long term goals in there, of course, but we
Okay.
really, the point of this with marketing campaigns is you want to focus on those weekly and quarterly goals. So we start off with looking at what our action goals are. So the action goals are going to be anything that's like related to any specific campaign, initiative that's designed to encourage you to have a particular behavior or your audience to have a particular behavior. So it makes your audience, click the link in the bio, sign up here, join the email list, and then again, these are activities that you could be doing like um, make 10 phone calls, send out 100 texts, right? These are action goals because they're like a very measurable and specific action and task that you want to complete in order to expect a certain amount, a certain result. So like the law of averages might say like if you make when I was doing sales, phone sales, like for every 100 calls, I probably would have got 10 answers, and out of those 10 answers, I probably would have got two contracts. So then now I know if I want to get two contracts, I need to make 100 calls. So then you
Gotcha.
can kind of use these action goals to kind of break it down to the simplest form, so you're not getting overwhelmed with like just saying, let's get 20 clients this month. Okay, what are the activities that you got to do to secure those 20 clients this month? Next, you're going to look at your growth goals. So the growth goals are, related to increasing revenue, customer base, key performance indicators. That word we used again. This is just really going to reflect the business growth. So like they're designed to help the business and the organization scale to the next level, to expand the operations. Usually, and again, like I said, it's tied to revenue. So like make 20K this month so that we could do X, Y, Z. Spend about 5,000 in ads, right? These are kind of growth goals. Your campaign goals are really a combination of both action goals and growth goals, and they happen like they're they're more so like audibles. Think of a campaign like an audible. Like you got this, you already have your weekly goals, and you're looking at your quarterly goals, and you see the direction you headed, but all of a sudden you just randomly got an extra 100 followers from a post, and you like, okay, I wasn't even expecting this post to blow up. Now the campaign goal is like, okay, how can we look at this post and see what people liked about it and kind of drip them in and reel them into what I got to offer, because I got this random 100 followers from this random post that I didn't think was going to pop. Now I got to capitalize on the opportunity and see if I could put out one more of those posts so I can get another 100, 500,000 followers from that type of content, and taking the new 100 that I got unsuspectedly and kind of put them through this funnel and this process of rocking with me to another level. So that's what the campaign goal is. And you always going to look at this and it's be like, it's just something that you got to act fast on so you can capitalize on opportunity. So I had a while ago, Crystal, I had created this system called the draining matrix. And the draining matrix is really a process. You can use this in the notes. Like you see, I got this depiction right here. This is literally a screenshot that I took on my phone of like the template of, you can use this in your notes section. And it's really a good way for you to kind of drain your mind of all the things you got to do. We our especially as creatives, like our brains are running a mile a minute. We trying to figure out, okay, what do I need to do? I need to do this, I need to do that. This allows you to kind of drain it all out your head onto your, on the paper or in your phone so that you can physically see what you have to do. And from doing research on not necessarily because the draining matrix is proprietary, right? But just doing research on like people who have to-do lists in general, 86% of people with to-do lists perform better than those who don't. Yeah, because just having a to-do list allows you to psychologically just checking something off and saying you accomplished something makes you even more prepared to do it again and keeps your morale up throughout the day because you know that you're getting stuff done and you can physically see yourself being productive. Um, Number two is you want to pick a consistent day of the week that you set your to-dos. I personally like to go with like a Sunday. I know people who might go in the middle of the week, hump day, Wednesday, or maybe Friday to kind of get ready for the next week. And they'll take weekends off. However you do it, you want to pick a consistent day that you look at your draining matrix and you take a look at what your quarterly goals are, and what weekly to-dos you need to come up with to get closer, at least closer to accomplishing those quarterly goals. Because a quarter, that's 12 weeks. So I got 12 weeks to ideally get these things done. But some things I might be able to knock out within the first 2 weeks of the quarter. So I can focus on those bigger tasks. But the point of this section right here, next week's to-dos, is to allow you to not overwhelm yourself with this because this can get a lot. And when I first started using the draining matrix, I was always adding stuff to my this week to dos. Then I just created another section called next week. And after, like, let's say if I start on Sunday and it's now Tuesday, and I just randomly get an idea like, oh, I need to do this. Like automatically, I got to add it to next week to dos so I'm not overwhelming myself and putting too much on my plate because you know I got down here the bonus is incorporated today category as well. I didn't put that in this template, but I do now have a today where it has like my today to dos and those like the daily to dos that could be anything from like taking the trash out, like reminding yourself to do little things like daily things that might not be business oriented. Like they're not, these are most likely going to be like business goals or revenue goals. But like daily to do goals, they just kind of keep you on top of like the stuff you got to do on a day to day basis. So again, going back to this week to not make sure I'm not overwhelming myself, I just automatically throw it on to next week. Unless it's like urgent, then I'll throw it on today. But it got to get done today. If it's really urgent, it got to get done today. If it don't have to get done today, it's not urgent. Just throw it on next week. Number three, I think I said this. Yeah, automatically assigned to the next week. Number four, those quarterly goals, you want to use that more so as like your GPS to see what type of activities and actions you need to be setting for your this week and next week goals. That kind of makes sense. Okay, perfect. And I saw you was trying to get a screenshot of that. I'm gonna make sure I get this the PDF version of this whole playbook. I'll make sure that you got a copy of it so you can look at it later as well. So next, this is the audio, the audience analytics. So I'm really excited about sharing this because this is going to give you a good idea on like identifying when you need to do a new marketing campaign because it's going to allow you to analyze what's going on from your post and see how your audience is responding, what your audience don't like. I know you had a question last week talking about how do I know what trends that my audience really likes, what trends to apply. This is going to give you the data and the information to make those judgments, right? So over here to the left, the engagement overview is just looking at how your content is stacking up. You could change it, but I keep mine on a 30-day period. I'll mainly look at my accounts engaged and my total followers. And if I want to see my click-through engagement rate, I'll divide this number from my total followers, and I'll get any number above really 3.5 to 4% is a pretty good. Like I know people with profitable theme pages who can get away with selling. Uh, Shoot, the Shade Room engagement rate is only 4.1%. Well, not only 4.1%, it's 4.1%. That's really good. So 3.5 is a good number, a good goal to make sure that your engagements are at, and you get it again by dividing um, that total followers divided by the accounts engaged. So in my case, looking at this, I'm well above 3.5%. I'm at almost 200%. With that engagement over the last. And matter of fact, I think I might have did those numbers wrong, right? Because let me do this the reverse way and see which one looks more natural. Divided by 15, or yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I'm at. I'm at 4.2%. So 4.2%. Um, compared over the last 30 days. That's right compared to the Shade Room's engagement. Um, and that's again really good considering that I don't even have like amount of they got like I think they're down at 13 million followers on IG. Um, so that's the engagement overview. That's how if anytime you want to see what your engagement rate is looking like for that month, you just go to again your professional dashboard over here. You hit see all, and this will be the first thing you see here, the overview. Then from that overview, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see your gender demographic. So the audience demographic, you'll be able to swipe through here. You can see the percentage of your followers' gender. You can see their city, their state. If you keep swiping across, so that will allow you to see, okay, is this aligned with your target audience? And if it isn't, okay, how do I get aligned with my target audience? Right? So how do I make more content that appeals to this? Or if you're trying to hit a certain goal, it's good to see this as well. Because let's say I'm trying to get my I'm trying to be 50-50 for whatever reason, right? Like I'm 70% men, 30% women, but I'm trying to get 50-50. So I would now know I need to do research on content that is engaging to women to even it out to get more women, to my page. Now, the activity performance, this is going to help you get an idea of what's the best times for you to post. So you keep scrolling down after you get to gender and your demographics, you keep scrolling down, you'll see your activity performance, most active times, and you can hit these arrows to scroll through the days and you can get an idea. Okay, for me, I see 12 and 3 o'clock are identical. So I can post really any time between 12 and about 4:30, 5 o'clock, probably even 4. I'll stay like 4 o'clock. So this gives me a nice little window that I can post in, and an idea when I'm going to have the most engagements again from my followers. So the reason why again this data is so crucial is because as a creator, you need to be able to confirm if you are or are not speaking to your target audience, right? You got your avatar, you know who you want to target, you know who all of your products and services and messages are targeted to. So you got to make sure that talking to that person. Now we're going to get into those trends. So I took that list when we was on the call last week. I took that list um, of content trends on social media and did a little bit more research on um, some of the top hacks that you can include in a reel and how impactful they are to that type of content. So that's what this graph is going to show you, from the highest impact down to the lowest impact, from dance and lip sync videos, how-to tutorials, comedy skits, short vlogs, and challenges. Now, you may not find yourself doing all five of these types of content. I would say, if anything, 2 to 3 at the max, you want to choose as like your core ones that you want to go hard in. You might occasionally find yourself doing one other type of trend on a different platform, but that's a whole nother story. But if you're doing like dance and lip sync videos, obviously your trending sounds is going to have a high impact on your videos. Collaborations is going to have a high impact on your videos, like meeting with other creators and doing the TikToks or the video or the reels with on-screen text that just kind of has a medium impact. It could help like if it's lyrics, or if it's like you know how you see people doing like dance videos, but they really giving like hacks on how to fix your credit. Like they might do a 50% energy the dance, but they'll throw some hacks on the side. So that's where it can kind of hit or miss. Depending on how strong and how valuable those tips are, it can really hit. But the on-screen text for these types of videos have immediate impact. Voiceovers, low impact. This is more so like the whole style is people getting into the vibes of the song, which is why again the trending sound has the highest impact. How-to tutorials. So you do a lot of how-tos, right? So with the how-tos, the on-screen text and the voiceovers are going to have the highest impact. So of course, like if you're talking, um you add in the captions that match up with what you're saying, right? Or if you doing a voiceover, even if you're doing a voiceover, you still have like some on-screen tips, like tip number one, and the whole time you talking about what tip number one is, right? And the beauty about the how-to tutorials is they can go so many different ways. It could be actually you talking, like how I'm talking. It could be you capturing like a video of you doing like doing hair, and then you doing a voiceover talking about, okay, the reason why I chose to go with this style, the reason why I'm using this tool is so she doesn't get XYZ. The reason why I'm using this conditioner or this, right? So the voiceovers have some high impact. Now, trending sounds have medium impact, because it can have a poor impact when you, because you got some people who don't know how to balance out. Like you can tell they either one chose a really random song that was just trending to throw on top of their video because it doesn't match the vibe of how they talking, is like really fast, or some like hip hop and they kind of giving you a different type of feel with they giving you a real zen meta, motivational speech or whatever, right? That can have a bad impact. It can have a really good impact if you choose like sounds, like if you talking, if you're going to use a trending sound, choose a trending sound that comes from that like meditative style of music, because naturally if you're using sounds that have, I think it's like at 400 hertz, it makes people feel an emotion tied with what you're saying. um, so that's when the trending sounds can have a good impact. Collaborations have a low impact, uh, with one exception. Like if you own multiple pages and you collaborating with your other pages, it will have a good impact because you're able to get the traffic from both, especially if they're in the same market. Now, if they're different niches, then it would make sense. But collaborations naturally have a low impact. Comedy skits. Comedy skits are interesting, right? Because it's kind of like the collaboration is going to have a high impact, because especially when you're working with other, other content creators, it's going to be like the dance and TikToks and stuff like that. On-screen text have a high impact. Trending sounds have a medium impact because mostly people there for the content. They want to laugh. So the sound's not really it. Sometimes if you got a really good comedy skit, that becomes a trending sound. Right, so
Right.
using trending sounds don't really have a huge impact. Voiceovers again, low impact. Now going into
Question for you for comedy, like
uh-huh.
um with these, you know how they do the remix, the side by side?
Yeah.
Could you do, is those considered something like that? Like if you just not a straight comedian, but you do something side by side with something else?
Yeah, that, but
You
I
know?
would count that as a collaboration.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, those are high impact. And even people who do it in like the most corniest fashion, like the people who really not even saying nothing, they just kind of like they
Yeah,
they blow their pages up, and
yeah,
not even, and most of them like wouldn't even consider themselves funny at all. They just know that it's a trending video, it's going viral, it done went viral multiple times on multiple different pages. Let me try and see if it'll make my page go viral. um and that's a form of collaboration. um
okay.
I do know from the creators, unless you like unless you're trying to come up as well, those types of collaborations are helpful. But when you kind of like a creator that's already like established, I know some of them have a certain opinion, like they don't really like when people remix their reels like that, because they getting credit off of their work, type of
Yeah,
thing. So it could
yeah.
go either here or there. um Short vlogs. But I play the game, right? So if you're trying to grow a page and it's a comedy page, run up them remixes, right? um, Short vlogs and recaps. Trending sounds is going to have high impact. Voiceovers is going to have high impact. The short vlogs is like your get ready with me's. Look at my day. In the salon. Look at the day in the life of a serial entrepreneur. You know, those types of videos. Voiceovers go crazy. Trending sounds go crazy. And the trending sounds don't even always have to have a voiceover. You could really pair it with just a nice edit, nice clean edit and like a little montage of you going to different places or doing different things, being at different stations, that's cool too. Um, and then the on text screens, that kind of will make it a little bit stronger if you do it that route. But generally speaking, on text screens, they have a medium impact for the blogs and recaps. Now collaborations have low impact with one exception, unless it's like a paid endorsement. Collaborations really don't have that big of an impact on your recap videos and your vlogs. You don't want to really spend too much because you're the show, you're the talent. So at that point, if you had to pick up these four things, you want to spend most of your energy and effort figuring out what's the best sounds you need to use and what's how you want to uh voice the content. Like what's the voice of the content? Because even like the voice of the content could be the lyrics in the sound too. I do want to make that clear. The lyrics of the sound could be the voice of the content.
Okay, so when it'll write out the words of the song. And
Yeah,
that's the okay.
yeah. So you want that to, if you're going to use a song with words on it, you want to at least have the words be a little bit relevant to what's going on.
Gotcha.
If you're not going to turn it down and talk over it. If you're going to
Right.
use if you're going to use the lyrics of the song, make it a little bit relevant.
It's crazy. You know, I hate to hear myself talk.
Yeah, that's crazy. I used to, but the fact is, the more you hear yourself talk, you start to like it a little bit more and more every
Okay,
time.
because I think I just did one. So I don't know if you noticed, like I just been trying to post something every day. Like
Hmm.
it's just my thing is to post every day. Just if I don't do but once a day, let me just make sure I post every day. So I did one, and I literally was laying in the bed and just started talking. Like it said something about who cuts your hair. I
Hmm.
always get the question, who cuts your hair? And I heard it and I was like, oh my God, you ain't sound too bad. Like you don't irritate me. Like
Hmm.
I went and listened to it like 3 or 4 times. I was like, okay, you're not too bad. So I get what you're saying because lately I've been having to all those things you send me. I have to listen to my voice.
Hmm.
And I used to be like, oh my God, I hate to hear me talk. But
Hmm.
I'm
If
glad you're
you,
saying that now.
I know you still shopping around for a laptop.
Nope.
Oh, you just got the MacBook. Okay, bet, perfect. So what you could do with that is you have GarageBand already downloaded on there, or if it's not
Uh-huh.
downloaded, you got access to it for free. Um, you still have your mics, or does the producer keep the mics?
Oh, they're mine.
Okay, so if you got mics, you can if they USB mics, you can plug them up to the laptop, and you
Uh-huh.
can kind of just have GarageBand play the feedback of your mic, so that you can just kind of just talk, spit, and you just kind of hear yourself talk. You can hear yourself talk while you're talking, and then that was super beneficial to me because then I can hear how I wanted my voice to sound. If I didn't like it, right? Like I could
Okay.
change my pitch. I could, know which words I want to fluctuate and, do different things and get creative with my delivery too. That was very helpful to where now I kind of sound the same and I know how I sound just based off of using GarageBand like that.
Right. Okay. GarageBand. Let me put that on here. That's helpful. Um, it's almost like when the singers put their finger over their ears so they can hear themselves sing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Exactly, exactly. You kind of training your ear to one, get used to how you sound and being able to control how you sound. So the last one of these content trends is going to be challenges.
Okay.
Um, challenges is a really good one, especially if you're in like that help content industry. Being able to run challenges, even if even if you're a dancer, doing dance challenges is good. Like challenges altogether is a very strong, you know, um, trend to add to your repertoire and to your pillars. On-screen text is going to have high impact with this one, and collaborations also have high impact. Like doing challenges with other content creators in your space. Like when you see all these, like you got these, like the relationship coaches who get together and do an event in Atlanta. Like they doing challenges to get people to the event. right? Like you got the financial gurus and the financial experts who might do 5 day challenges. Actually, fun fact: Ash Cash and EYL, they did a financial literacy challenge back in I think November last year, like credit, funding, all this other stuff. They did a 5 day challenge, and they ended up fundraising $20 million off of the 5 day challenge. Yep, $20 million off of the 5 day challenge. You got some low tickets in there. You upselling. You got some mid to high ticket offers in there, right? Like so, the challenges could be a great way to funnel people into a bit like a more long term community, or even like some coaching, some consulting, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. Um, After of course, the on-screen text and the collaborations, trending sounds have a medium impact, and voiceovers have a low impact. The reason why voiceovers have a low impact is because if you're gonna do a challenge, like you got to be here with us. A voiceover kind of almost don't feel like you really here with us, even though you made that video anywhere in the world and you're not like physically with us. Is like the is different than me being in front of this camera talking to you for this live community call versus me having a pre-recorded call that I recorded on a Sunday randomly, and I just kind of like, hey, watch this, and this is the live call, right? It's just a little different of a feel. Do you have any questions on these content trends so far? No. Okay. So we talked a lot about trending sounds, right? Trending sounds is like high impact on a lot of these, at least 3 out of the 5. So we got to at least know how to find trending sounds and what qualifies a trending sound. So I would say, in the beginning, spend about 5 to 10 minutes. Eventually, you'll be able to identify them quicker, but spend 5 to 10 minutes a day just kind of scrolling. This is like when you give yourself permission to kind of scroll through the reels or the For You page on TikTok just to kind of hear for sounds that you hear being used, more than once. It's 5 to 10 minutes is not a lot of time. So, like, you hear it, if you hear the same trending sound twice, hey, that's worth at least clicking the sound to see how many reels was made using that sound. I would say any like 5K to 7,500 is really the sweet spot because that's the idea. Like that's the sign that you got a sound that's trending. Because like 5,000 reels is a lot. Now I'm gonna look and I'm gonna see if they like 5,000 of the same reel or 5,000 of the same content creator. That which is crazy for you to make 5,000 of the same using the same sound. That's crazy, but because it most likely ain't. But just do your due diligence. If you got 5,000 people using a sound, that means it's trending. That's a good sign. So this is like the highest chance for a video using one of these sounds to kind of go viral and pick up. Um, 8K to about 150K. The lower in this range, obviously the better. Because then once you get to the top of this range, like 150, it's starting to get a little saturated. It's a lot of people putting out content using that sound, and then if you click into them, you might only see, you know, 10 of them over a huge swipe. You might only see 10 of them got more than 25,000 views. The rest of them looking in the hundreds. So then you was like, okay, yeah, it's definitely getting saturated. Like not a lot of people are getting results using this reel. But I remember I seen one sound that had 125,000 reels, and I was looking, and all I saw was 25, 30, 40, 50, 50, 100, a million. Like I just kept seeing some high numbers. I'm like, oh yeah, this one is going crazy. So even at 127, even at 150, I would have felt a little bit better about you still using that reel. But once I get to 155 and up, it's really a hit or miss. You're going to have to look at some other factors to kind of see if that reel is still trending. But once you get past that 150,000 reels, it's like I will most likely stay away from it. I might still, check those other things, but it's most likely going to be a miss. So I'll just kind of stay away from it. Um, so now we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I was just kind of brushed over. I just wanted to kind of reiterate it, and make it relatable to what we're talking about and how, this is like the grand scheme of things, but the 7 day campaign. So, I like this 7 day campaign from just looking at it, analyzing it, comparing it to other campaigns. I think is probably one of the strongest and most effective, social media campaigns that you can execute, especially if you're looking to like grow and monetize in a short period of time, because it's a 7 day campaign. You're being very intentional about, the type of content, the call to actions. You're being very strategic. And when you put it out and you pair it with what I talk about next, which is some of these um, post hacks, growth hacks, then it could really have a good outcome. So first one, the first day is you always focus on the hook. The hook is your first impression. This is how you get eyes from people like, oh, what's this? Right? Oh, now I'm looking forward to, like, you kind of left me hanging. Like, you got to have that hook and you got to have a cliffhanger at the end as well. This is probably one of the posts where instead of a call to, well, the call to action is usually like, follow me to hear part two tomorrow, or turn the notifications on to make sure you don't miss my post tomorrow. Like, that would be the call to action because it's based off of a cliffhanger at the end. But specifically on the hook, um sometimes we can, as creators, get a little bit one dimensional when it comes to the type of, like, thinking that a hook has to be something written, like either the on screen text, or the words we say, like how we deliver the beginning of the video. But essentially, you can have a hook that can also be nonverbal, is visual, something that throws off um the natural psychology of people scrolling on social media, like something that makes them like stop the scroll. And it's going to be different for everybody, but again, the closer you know your avatar, the better you know your target audience, the more you can kind of be like, oh yeah, I know this is going to get their attention. So like, you'll see occasionally me do certain edits. Like, I just put out a video where I tried a new edit. I'm gonna share my screen and share IG, where it kind of interrupts the scrolling pattern of my user. Boom. I think I'm say screen is loading. Okay, you can see my screen. Okay, so this one right here. So when it starts, I kind of like zoom out or zoom in to the screen. It's just like very subtle, very quick, and it looks different on the computer. But of course, when you scrolling, the first thing people see is that kind of like that little zoom action that kind of makes them stop to see what just happened, because they not used to people just like some subjects moving like that. They more so used to something like this, like I'm already on the screen. That's like usually how they used to seeing it. So that's just an example of how a hook can be used non-verbally. Let me go back to sharing the presentation. Boom. All right, perfect. So that's the hook. Day two is just going where you focus on educating. So education is where you explain how the content helps them achieve their goals. You also want to focus on, you know, guiding your avatar on how to think, how to receive the information, um, how to react and respond to the information. But you don't really necessarily tell them, what to think, like what they should think. Is more so how to think, how to break this down. What does this mean for you? What does this
So,
mean for you? Go ahead.
question. Okay, so the 7 day campaign. Um, I'm gonna ask the question because no question is a dumb question. um, so day 1, 2, 3, am I planning to do these on this day? Like, do I take my time and plan the 7 day and then execute day by day, or is this a planning to come up with a 7 day campaign?
That's definitely far from a dumb question. That's a really good question. This is pretty much the template that you follow for what the posts look like. So
Okay.
before you get here, you should already plan out what the content is going to be. Is it going to be a reel? Is it going to be a post? Is it going to be a post and a story post? What is the intent and what is the focus behind each day? So
Okay.
like, day one, I might want to post a reel, or I might want to post a post, like a carousel of posts, whatever that looks like. So That is, to answer your question. You want to have this plan before you start, and these 7 days are going to be the focus of the day.
The execution.
Hmm.
So technically, like I would put planning my 7-day campaign in week on my the what's the slides? What was it was called?
The draining matrix.
Yes.
Yeah, you could definitely use the draining matrix to plan your campaign.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And then this is another template for what the campaign would look like. This is what the campaign looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so day three, this is where you're gonna reward them. So at this point now, you might have some type of exclusive offer or free gift for the people who have been like engaging with you over the last 2 days and engages on this next post. Right. So you'll of course, make it known like, hey, and shout out to the people that have been rocking with me these last 2 days and sticking around. I promise I'm gonna get to more of the meat, by the end of the week. But since you here, hit, comment this for a free gift. That's an example of what that reward would look like. Outcome. Now, this is where you want to get a little creative. It's a little harder if you're starting something new and you don't have like testimonials or, people that could give you a good review. But if you have like clients and people that can give you testimonials, then you'll highlight the positives and you'll highlight those testimonials, because you want them to see what it's like being a part of your online community or, just a part of your tribe. And then once you have it, ideally you want to use that same person and then feature them on your page. So you can have them send you a video. You can have them, y'all could do a live and like an Instagram live. I think that's the most beneficial way to feature somebody on your page is by scheduling a live. So in that case, you might make a reel or a post that lets your audience know that you're going live at 8 o'clock with that person, and then maybe even share a screenshot of the post that you made the day before, going to giving them the outcome. So like on the flyer, I might have like, let's say you sent me a text, say like, hey Kai, I applied this and I already got 3 clients and made $1,000, right? I'll take a screenshot of that and then I'll make a flyer saying, oh hey, Crystal's already getting these results on day 4, but then day 5, I'll post a flyer. It'll have you and me, live on IG at 8 o'clock, and then it'll have a screenshot of the post, right? Like of the text thread. Like she already made $1,000. So like just so people know, and then they can go and see the post, and that's where they'll even get more information on what that looked like. So you got the outcome, then you got the feature. Next, you're gonna have the action. This is like taking all of that and then now encouraging your followers to take action with clear call to actions like do this, do that. Like this is where, like if you wasn't already, this is where you like definitely asking them to do something. Closed mouths don't get fed. Don't be. This is not an opportunity to be shy. This is the opportunity to be like, if somebody said this is your one day to say anything you want, like ask for anything, like when your parents are like, you get one day, you can get anything you want. Don't ask me for none the rest of the week though, right? Like this is the day you go crazy. You just ask away. Uh, day oh day 7, right? I got day 6 twice, but day 7 is going to be the recap. So the recap now, this is where you're going to summarize the key benefits of and encouraging them to connect further. So you're going to go over a couple of these days, go over some key benefits on why they want to hit that follow button if they didn't already, or hit that link in that bio if they didn't already, and encouraging them to connect with you further for some help in whatever is the target and whatever the offer is. Um, that was a great question you had before, Crystal. Does that all make sense now? Okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now I understand it a lot better. It's got me really thinking about some stuff to do.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And you know what that stuff to do? Just use that drainer matrix. That make it a whole lot easier.
Yes.
So now we want to choose our audience. I'm not sure if you already did this and identified that Instagram is the main audience you want to focus on, but you never know. Instagram may not be, the app that you want to spend majority of your time on. Now, because I say that, I'm not saying that you don't still want to post on all the apps. You do want to post on all four apps, but you're looking at one app more specifically on like, I know that this is where my target audience is spending most of their time, and how I can continue to nurture my relationship with them. Because here the four audience, right? All four of these audiences are very different. Because once you find the one that you most connect with, your strategy should be geared towards appealing to that person, the audience that's on that specific app. So on TikTok, you got a younger audience. They have a shorter attention span, which is why most of the most high performing videos are like 6 seconds, 6 to 12 seconds. But when it comes to like e-commerce, you see a lot of the e-commerce people doing really well on TikTok because they're much more impulsive. So people actually make a lot more impulsive buys on TikTok. So like if you selling a product like those, you saw them sun lamps, and you see people selling these different gears and gadgets, like TikTok is where they make their user generated content, because that audience is much more impulsive. They most likely to buy it. That's why they got the hashtag TikTok made me buy it, because that's where like TikTok is where people go to sell stuff. Um Now Facebook is the contrary to TikTok, is an older audience. The older audience likes to be nurtured, and you can nurture them with drip campaigns. Drip campaigns are like the extended version of the 7 day campaign. The 7 day campaign is really fast, is really calculated and intentional. Now the drip campaigns are still very intentional and calculated, but it's like chess, not checkers. Like it's a longer play. Like a drip campaign could be like a 15 to 30 day campaign, where you got a combination of like statuses that you're putting out on Facebook, pictures, videos, reels, news articles. Like you putting all kinds of stuff out there that's just kind of like rewiring the thought process of your audience. Now to the bottom, we got my favorite, what I do really well on, which is Instagram. That's where you find your ratchet professionals, right? And what I mean by the ratchet professionals is they still want to be entertained, but they also still there to they got personal brands, they promoting their business, they making some money on Instagram. They getting a little ratchet on Instagram, like talking some shit, engaging with people, right? Sharing some ratchet stuff. Like it's just a fun environment. It's like I'm not trying to be on LinkedIn, but I still want to be about my business, right? That's what Instagram is. And then Shorts, YouTube, the icon on the right, that's your rebels, like people who, either the crazy thing about um the shorts, it's it's a melting pot, but you most likely going to get an older audience in there as well, because it's the people that stay away from social media. Like, oh, I don't really be on social media like that. So they got the YouTube app and they just stay searching stuff on YouTube. Like they still like to digest content. They ain't all way to where like they watching the news every day, but they still like to be engaged and know what's going on, and they would like to watch a lot of different videos. So YouTube is where they stay at. They just don't got all the other apps. That's why I call them the rebels. So they're gonna find your videos through the internet search, and they're browsing this stuff. Now, the reason why this is so important, because you got to deliver this content differently. Like, I can't use the caption that I would put for my reels. They're not the same captions on YouTube Shorts, because I know YouTube Shorts is like, these are people who browsing or they searching. So I got to make the captions on my shorts like some highly searchable stuff, like something that's searchable. I can't just make it like a statement, like me popping some stuff real quick, or just talking some game. I can't make that the caption. You know how some people just on Instagram, they just got captions. It's like it's just something real slick, just real clever. Like, oh, I'm cool. Look at me. Those don't really fly on YouTube, because it got to be like searchable. It got to be something that people searching, and so many different ways you can say it. But that's pretty much the four. Figure out what's going to be the best one that is going to have the person that you're looking for, so that you can craft your delivery that makes the most sense. Because again, if you have the most chances of growing on YouTube, but you tailoring your voice to sound like somebody who's going to be on Instagram, it's going to be hard for that person to find you. All right, now this is where you get to the branding. the branding is super important because, and when I mean by branding, I'm talking specifically the branding of your profile, your page, like your IG page, your YouTube Shorts wall or your YouTube channel, the Facebook page, the TikTok profile. They all business cards, digital business cards, and your personal brand like helps you build trust with others, especially if you're putting out help content because this is how you communicate your strengths, what value you bring to the table, what your expertise is, in a very clear and concise way. Because right now people are being bombarded with information, and right now we are in a space where people just want to be able to easily and quickly find out if you the person with the sauce. Like, do you have what I need? Because I'm here trying to figure out how to make money doing this. You made a video about it, but are you really like that? You got a day to show me something. I'm gonna browse through your content. Oh nope, your profiles. You got real estate here. You got this there. You got that there. You got this there. You're not really on it. So I'm gonna go to the next person. Oh dang, all they videos say ecom, 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 ecom. So it's just a way for people to trust you faster. So ways that you can optimize your profile and make sure that you're ready for those days that you go viral and you get 100 followers, 200 followers, 1,000 followers in a day. You want to do things like make sure you got your content pillars or a tagline in your bio. So like my tagline on IG, I think is the podcast champion, or I think on Twitter it's like producer of the year. That's like the tagline. So at least like something where people could see, you know, like your position. Like if you had a business card, it's the line that goes right underneath your name, right? Um, Next is going to be your niche tag. So I'm not sure if you noticed, but stop my share right here. Oh, I could just do a new share. I know for next time. Um, I'll share this right here. But when you are, yeah, I lost my train of thought. Where was, what was the last thing I just showed you?
He was trying to show me the niche.
The niche tag.
The
Gotcha, gotcha.
niche tag.
So this thing right here, like how it says producer, you can change that. So like if you have a creator's account or even a business account, you can change it to like say what it needs to say. Like when I go to MDM, I changed it to podcast so people can see that this is a podcast. Um, I think when I go to Hardly Initiated, there it says like media news company, right? So you could change what the niche is. So now that's another way for people to easily see, okay, what do you identify as? Um, that's surprisingly like really important, and it plays a huge part. And again, adding that credibility. So after the niche tag, now we going into making clear, bold thumbnails. So you got the thumbnails on the page. Again, like so people can clearly see when they're looking at your content, they don't have to click the video to see what the video is about it anymore. They can easily see that this video is about this. So if you doing different types of content, at least you giving them the opportunity to not have to waste their time, right? Like if they just see a whole bunch of videos, and that's really bad if you especially talking about different things, because now they expecting ecom, but now they getting real estate when they click the video. Where if I can at least make clear, bold thumbnails, they can see, okay, this video is about real estate. So keep scrolling, you'll see multiple videos um about ecom. And if I really want to make it easier on your eye, I can just put all my ecom videos on this side of my Instagram and all my real estate videos on that side of my Instagram. So now you can see it's a trend. So you know to stay on this side if you're looking for ecom, and this side to stay on if you're looking for real estate. Just making it really easy on your users' eyes to find what they're looking for. Number 4, the next one, we got consistent theme. Is there a consistent theme? And that goes back into what I said before with the bold thumbnails. Like just being able to have, you know, everything lined up on one side to identify this is one type of content, and then everything identified on the other side so that they know this is a different type of content. So when I go to again, I'm gonna use my profile as an example here. you know that you'll see that I have quotes and like carousels in this column. So they'll know that, okay, this is where the carousels and the quotes are going to go. And at one point when I was doing talking head in the car, this is where the talking head in the car went. I'm actually about to change these up to be a different type of content, but I'll still keep. I like the pillars idea. So have a consistent theme. For other people, the theme might look different. Like if you go to Justin, I think his name LeBoy, Justin LeBoy, yeah, his is very consistent. He don't change it up at all. It's like nothing but tweets on the white screen. Every
Oh,
once in a while he'll slip up, but it's like tweets on the white screen. And he has a page that has 6.4 million views and it's nothing but tweets. Like not even
wow.
the videos, nothing but tweets.
Wow.
Nothing but tweets. So it like just it's the fact that he has a very consistent theme that now naturally it don't matter if he's talking a whole lot of smack, right? It's nothing like it's like super. It's not help content. It's entertainment, but it's
Mhm.
consistent, and that consistency builds credibility and trust with his audience. Like
Mhm.
they trust they can get some really out of pocket stuff by going on Justin LeBoy's page.
Wow.
Uh, and then the last one we got, traffic is directed to one place. This is huge if the goal is to grow, is to monetize your audience, right? Even if you don't have anything to offer for right now, at least still direct your traffic to some type of squeeze page that gets an email and a name at the bare minimum out of your most liked, not the most liked, the ones who trust you the most, right? Because they're going through these campaigns, they're going through a funnel, they're going through a process of like liking you to loving you. So it's like they started with one video and they liked it, and then they started watching more videos, they followed you, they getting more videos the more you put them out every day, and they starting to love you, and then as they love you, they start to do things, they start to act. And one of those actions is clicking the link, and you want to make sure that your traffic is being directed to one place, and that one place gets the most important information you need. So then when you trying to offer them these multiple things, at least you have their information. But when you try
That's
offering people multiple things and you keep giving them options on where to go, they most likely don't go anywhere because they don't really know where they want to go.
got you. You got to send them there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
Exactly. It's like it's way easier for you to run a salon than having a whole bunch of different artists in different places, and you trying to tell your clients to go to go to Marietta, Atlanta, Gresham, and they got to go to these different places if they want a specific. No, like, hey, just come to the salon and you get everything you need in the salon.
Right. On the page, how you have it set up, how do you do that align it? Like, do you have to go back in, or can you just cut and slide them over?
Oh yeah, you can't slide them over. So again, this like goes with intention and planning.
Uh,
So it's like you have a cadence. So if let's say if I'm posting 3 times a day,
right.
if I'm posting 3 times a day, that means each of these roles is a day. So that
Yeah.
means my first post of the day, if it looks like this, my first post of the day, and I'm gonna make it easier, right? Because you got black, and then you got miscellaneous, and then you got in the car.
Right.
So if these represent a day and I'm posting 3 times a day, my first post in the morning is going to be a post of me in the car. My second post, closer to around like 12 or 3 o'clock, is going to be either a picture of me or a video of my podcast. And then my last post of the day, probably around like 6, 7, or 8 o'clock at night, is going to be this theme.
A quote.
Yep, a quote. So
Okay.
so that's like pretty much how you got to be intentional because like you don't want to if you got a theme like this. That's why these themes are a little bit harder to manage because like I have to have that's for the most part. If you see me go a couple days without posting, it's either because I'm taking a break or because I have not had the time to make the content that has to go up next. I might have this post, right? Like I might have another quote already made, but I can't
Right.
post a quote until I post two more videos before that or two more posts
Right.
before that. So it is a little bit more difficult to maintain. Um, but in my experience, it is worth it, right? Because it just gives them a organized look.
Okay.
Um, so that's that. And then like I said, the last one we want to focus on is directing our traffic to one place. And just to make sure you could, do you see my IG or do you see the presentation?
I see the presentation now.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So moving on now to what the perfect reel looks like, and we getting ready to wrap up too, Crystal, in a little bit. I got like three more, I think two more slides, and
Okay. You
you
good.
know I'll open it up for if you got any last minute questions. But this is
Okay.
what the perfect reel looks like. So we kind of already went over this, and I even made a post about this on my IG a week ago. 6 to 15 seconds is going to be the sweet spot. You know, on screen text is going to be a must. You know,
Hmm.
especially for help content. If you're building a brand, if you're building a personal brand that is trying to, you know, get clients and you're selling a product or service, I call that help content, right? So on screen text is a must. Keep trying new ideas, right? Don't be afraid to try new things, you know, trying different types of styles of content. Trending sounds is going to make a big difference. And we already talked about the trending sounds, how to find those trending sounds.
Hmm.
Always include hooks and call to actions in your videos, because again, the mindset is, you know, your audience doesn't know exactly what they want. You gotta tell them what it is so they can be like, oh, I want that. It's like most people aren't hungry until they see other people with food.
Right.
And that's kind
Exactly.
of how it is. So the like the call to action is you putting food in their face.
Gotcha.
And then lastly, it's not about going viral at all. It's about being consistent and paying attention.
Hmm.
Um, Going viral is the equivalent of that person that's always talking, and even when they ask you a question, they don't let you answer the question. They keep talking. That's the person who has the mindset of making a video for it to go viral. It's just like, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm talking, but I'm not listening. I don't know who this is for. I don't know what response I'm getting. I don't know if they click in the links. I don't know if they comment, if they like, I don't know any of that. The
Right.
person who's looking at it like to learn is the person who asks questions, the interviewer, the person like Oprah, right? She's a great interviewer. Like people who ask great questions because they're trying to pull information, collect data, and learn.
Right.
That's the point of putting out reels. And if you do these, you got the perfect reel that's going to allow you to learn something about your
Cool.
audience, about your offer, about your service. Now, these three are my favorite growth hacks. So I do these things to kind of like give some of my posts a little boost. And these three hacks will turn up your views and your engagements when done right and consistently. So every time I get a post or put out a post, I'll share that post in as a direct message to as many people that I see on my when you hit because Instagram gonna show you different people for the most part. They're gonna use the first 15 gonna be the same people for the most part.
Right. Right.
People you're sharing funny videos to, you know, people you're in groups with, you like that's gonna be the first 15. But once you
Hmm.
get past there, that's gonna switch up a little bit. But what I'm doing is I'm sharing that directly to the people I think this specific post will relate to the most.
Okay.
And I'm not just going to send it to them. I'm not just going to send it to them. I'm going to send it to them and make sure that I am giving them a text that makes them want to engage with it as well. So like I might ask them a polarizing question. I might um I might say like um what did you think about this? Or I might say like, if you looking to do this, I promise you that this post won't let you down. And then at the end, I'll say, you know, comment and share it if you agree. Comment and share if you like it. You know, just comment and share it if this was worth your time. If you don't, you let me know that it wasn't worth your time. I'm
I
kind of
got
like
you.
I'm not saying it, but I'm kind of giving that's the perception I want them to think. Like, okay, if I don't at least comment, they're gonna think it was trash, and I don't want them to think it's trash. So I'm most likely at the very least gonna comment.
Right.
If I share it, that means I really saw some value in it. What's up, Callum?
How you doing, bro? It sound a bit late.
No, no, it's all good, brother. We actually getting ready to, wrap it up. I got a couple more slides, but of course, I'll make sure you got the recorded version
Okay.
sent to your phone so you can watch it later. We just going over this presentation about, some of these like this is the marketing play essentially. Like this is the play you want to run to, have some type of strategic campaign for your social media account. So right here, what I'm talking about is my favorite growth hacks. We just went over the direct messages and the shares. And then number two is going to be the link to story. So in most cases, people are sharing like the quickest and laziest way that I share a reel or a post that I just put out is by just simply adding it to my story and hitting post. Right? It just looked like a little square of my post isolated on my story. That's the most boringest way to try and get people to see your content. What
Right.
I mean, there's a whole lot of ways you can get people to engage with it, but the way that I've been trying the most, that works the most, is for me to kind of like make like go on Canva, make an actual story post, make it look animated if anything, or if it's not animated, it might be a photo, or a video that's either controversial or entertaining, but is also relevant to my post,
Okay.
right?
Mm.
Relevant to my post. And what I'll do is I'll add the link directly from the post. So when they look at, let's say, man, this is the fastest one I could think of. But let's say, I have a blog that I want people to see about climate control and the effects of like global warming or something like that, right? I might share a very touching video of that girl, that little white girl from Sweden that was going around the world trying to tell people about global warming and stuff like that. She got a couple posts that go crazy, right? I might share one on my story, and then I'll just share a link to my blog. So then people will see it, and then they'll click the link, and then now they see my blog, but they're not mad because it's like about what they just were touched by. Or even on the like other side of things, like I might choose a funny video that's related to my post. People just got their laugh and they want to get some more laughs, or they want to see something relevant to that. They'll usually click the link. So I'll just link it so it's like it's outside the box thinking. They're not just looking at my reel, because also what I can't confirm is that IG always gives you credit for the views on your reel if people saw partial of the reel on your story,
Hmm.
right? So like now at that point, you think about it, if they're not giving you credit, now you wasting digital real estate. It's like now people are watching your reel, or watching um the first 10 seconds of your reel, and they might have been just engaged enough to watch the whole clip, but not engaged enough to click and watch the rest of the reel. Who, like, you might not get that credit, right? So this way you're able to save it, right? They don't see anything, they see something else, and then they click it, and then now they watching this that's related to what the mood they already in.
I tend to cover mine up with the new reel.
Yeah, I did that too, right? It's the same thing because they still hearing it. And
Yeah, you're right.
again,
Now that I think about it, it's like now you need to mute it and put a new reel on it.
yeah, and then again, you
Then
gotta
put the
think
link.
about it. Most people phones on vibrate, so their story is not automatically coming with sound.
Right.
Unless they hit that up button to turn on the sound, or they hit that little button to turn on the sound. So them seeing new reel or new post, I think last time I checked, like 67% of the people just hit the next story. Like they'll either swipe off your story or hit your
You're
next your
right.
next story. So
Yeah, you
you,
got to get something to pull them in, huh?
yeah, you got to get something to pull them in. So that link to story was a little hack that I found out was increasing increasing my views. And you can look at your story insights and see how many people click the link. Like Instagram will show you how many people click the link. It'll show you how many people hit back to maybe watch it again, or it will show you how many people then skip through, or how many people exited. Right? Like that was like, no, this is the last straw. I ain't watching your story no more. Like I ain't watching your story for the rest of the day. So that's the second one, and then the third one I like to do is the Facebook groups. You can always, search up various Facebook groups that are relevant to your niche, for you to join them, and you can post, links to the IG reel or links to whatever is again your chosen market, right? And what I mean by that, Callum, just to briefly go over, we were going over like which of the four markets is going to be like your market that you're going to focus on, right? Not saying you're still not posting on all four of them, but like one of them is going to be the one where like all of your, like I could be transparent with you guys because like all my examples when I show y'all when I'm doing these things and I'm saying like I tried this, the first platform I'm showing y'all is Instagram for the most part, with the exception of maybe like when I'm going to my long form content, I'll show y'all YouTube. But for the most part, I'm showing y'all Instagram. So like Instagram is my app, my audience that I'm targeting, because that's where that's where I get all my strategies. That's where I attack my strategies, execute the strategies. But I'm still posting on all four of them. Same as for you. You want to pick you want to find out which one's going to be the best one for you to grow on. Like you might decide Facebook is better. So again, Facebook, whatever the app that you're using is that you're trying to grow, that's where I would send them the link. Like that's the link I would use to post in these Facebook groups. Again, before you do it, just make sure the rules you're not breaking no rules of the Facebook group and spamming and pissing people off. That's why you want to at least at the bare minimum find a group that's relevant to the post that you're going to be putting in there, so people feel like they still getting some value.
Yeah. No, I have a quick question because I think Instagram is also the platform where I'm like, I want to like blow my shit up on Instagram. Like I think about that. And obviously I know you have like, obviously you do your like your own podcast and then also the Hardly Initiated podcast. And like their Instagram content like goes crazy, right? So I'm curious from your perspective, like just reflecting on it, like seeing the level of growth you've been able to get. If you had to boil it down to like the three most important reasons, and like you had to stick to that number of why you think that they're successful on Instagram, like what would you say that is?
I would definitely say polarity, and it's going to be relevance and credibility. So like we choose to be very polarizing with our content. We've seen we strive to be very relevant. So like we try to stay in the times of what's trending, like what conversations are also trending on other theme pages that are, again, you still want to make sure that relevant to you as well. So like, yeah, there's a lot of other things relevant in golf news, but we're not posting golf news because that's not our niche. We posting what's relevant in like the relationship news and red pill, blue pill, and dating dynamics and stuff like that. So relevant, polarizing, and then credibility, which again goes into like collaborations. Again, other people who are also credible, to stamp their name on the mission. Whether that's in an interview or whether that's getting them to, repost a reel or a carousel or whatever that is. Those will be the three things that I say we focus on the most.
Okay, just to follow up on the polarity point, because I've seen this. So I'm aware of the space and like that whole like the dating dynamics and like red pill versus blue pill, or like all these different things. People like love that shit on social media. Like people react to that. Like it's a niche that is very appropriate for like polarizing content, right? And so I'm curious, like, do you think that's something where it's like it really works because their content is about like relationships and that sort of space? Or do you think you could actually bring, like for me, for example, my podcast is more about like entrepreneurship, like self-improvement, like people just going out and doing their own thing, like outside of just their like 9 to 5.
Yeah, I
Do you
get what you're
think that's
saying.
also something where you could input polarity, or is it doesn't really work in that?
No, absolutely. It's the same. And here's the thing that people in that space, Callum would would disagree with me with, but people in the business space, because I had my podcast is also a business. It's like an entrepreneurship podcast as well.
Yeah.
So David Shands, those people don't agree with this statement, but that is more so like the equivalent to like how likely it is for you to become a successful rapper going the J. Cole route versus going the 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 shoot, kill, drug, sex, money route, right? Like, because that's what the mainstream industries want to push out. So you already going against the grain with putting out content like J. Cole, so you got to be that much better, right? So to answer your question is like it's still possible, it's still very important, but you have to then look at you got to like, okay, this is really a skill I got to like get better at, right? Because David Letterman, he doesn't post, right, like relationship content, but he has still very polarizing clips, right? Like Oprah at one point, like she was posting very polarizing things. Dr. Phil. Now that's where you get into the drama side of things, but it's just about like, okay, maybe I could just be asking better questions to get my guests to kind of be more on the polarity spectrum, even when talking about entrepreneurship and business, right? Like getting somebody to say about credit, like, you know, yo, you could get like this is polarizing, right? My funding clients get $500,000 in 30 days. Like I'm just, like whether that's possible or not, saying something like that is polarizing. 30 days you're gonna help me get $500,000 in funding?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It may not sound as sexy as like these relationship, content, but the people who it's for.
Mm.
Right, like it's for the entrepreneur, it's for the people who on that personal development journey, it's for the people on that entrepreneurship wave. So polarity for them looks different than polarity for the people consuming the relationship content.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. The second thing you said like the relevance piece and that you have an awareness of like what's trending and stuff. Like, what are you doing to get that awareness? Like, are you following like you said theme pages, right? Like, you
Yeah,
just
theme pages, and this is where. So I would definitely go back and watch this video because that's like the first half. We talked about the content trends. We got 5 different types of videos here. The audience analytics, so you can kind of see what was working, and then what qualifies a trending sound. So you even know like how to grade your trending sounds and how to stack them up into your videos. And then here we got that 7-day campaign. So this is also a learning process, right? Each day you're learning a little bit more about your audience as well, seeing what's working, what's not working, what style of content is resonating, what style of content isn't resonating, and so forth and so on. So you definitely going to enjoy the first half of this call because it kind of answers those questions. But I would say, yeah, theme pages is definitely one of them as well, to kind of just look at. And also just look at who you following. Like if you just scrolling on your timeline and you don't see nothing that's helping you, like if your news feed not inspiring you to put out content, you probably got to unfollow some people and follow some people. Cause
mm,
like like when I scroll, like just me scrolling on social media 2 days ago gave me today's post,
mm,
right? Like me scrolling today gave me tomorrow's post and Thursday's post, right? Like if you're not scrolling and you're not seeing inspirations on what you should and could be posting and adding to your campaigns and to your scheduling, then you definitely want to follow some more people. So follow some theme pages, follow some blog pages, follow some comedians, follow some influencers that's in your space, follow some podcasters, and really just repurpose their content. Look at and see like what's working for them, and try it and see if it will work for your audience.
mm. Okay, I got you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So that's pretty much it. This doesn't really apply to you guys. I'm what I'm doing is, again, I'm gonna give y'all some game, right? So this presentation we just had, of course, I'm going to, and I'm gonna show y'all how you could do the same thing, for something in your space as well. But so let me share, new share, go back to Instagram. So this post that I just made, this is the post that I was saying I just got the inspiration from scrolling yesterday. So boom, ChatGPT helped me craft a 7-day social media campaign, and then boom, tweet carousel, and then at the end, here's my call to action: comment growth for a free social media growth playbook. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn this going back to the presentation, turn the presentation into a PDF form so that now people can go, submit their emails and their name to be able to download the PDF, right? So then they could see the PDF, they can get a little bit, a little bit at the end, and then that's where you get at the end. I got an even further call to action for them to join the community. So it's a fun, it's like a form of a funnel. It walks them through from the IG to downloading the PDF. Even if they don't, hit the link after they download the PDF and they look at the PDF, I still got their email. So now I can add them in that email campaign. All right. So again, right, the benefit, of course, is of being on the calls is you don't have, as a PDF, you leave it just vague enough to where they like, okay, I want to dive deeper. Like, what does that mean? Like, right? Like you had questions in the beginning, Crystal. You had questions towards the end, Callum. Like, it's the information is still good information, but it's just vague enough to where you want a little bit more. So that's why, again, it's the benefit and the beauty of the cause is like, I can go on here and I can explain it more in depth, make it make sense, make it relevant to your situations and things like that. But for the people who's just downloading the PDF, they're getting some good game, but they ultimately are missing the bigger picture.
For sure.
So you can create something like this as well, like little presentations, PDFs, and things like that that you can use as a squeeze page that we talked about earlier, Crystal, as a way for you to pretty much garnish names, phone numbers, and emails from your audience.
Gotcha. So, like setting that up, where is no, here I am again with another question.
No, you
Where
good.
do you where would you keep their contact information, and like how is that set up on the back end for
Okay,
you to
so
receive that?
yeah, so I build it on my website. So
Okay.
I'll have a landing page that will say download this playbook. They'll click it and then it will open up a light box that makes them submit a form, a quick form, their name, email, and phone number. And
Mm-hmm.
then instead of saying submit, like the button doesn't say submit, it says download. So
Mm-hmm.
once they submit that information, they can now download the file. But if they don't submit the required information, they can hit download all they want. It's just going to blink. It's not going to download the PDF. So then once they submit it, hit download, it pops up on their phone or on their computer.
Gotcha. And so for me, as for you, like, so where is all that information kept? Where does it come to
Hmm.
for me to keep up with that? Is that a program or something?
Yeah, you could either build a website, you could build a website, and building a website doesn't mean you have to have multiple pages. Like you could literally build a funnel or a landing page on Wix or Shopify, so that you can have some type of server to store the information. But to get started, because I like it like that because you can automate it, right? Like
Right.
like I could collect the emails and be away from my computer for weeks, and it like I'm gonna have come back to a list of emails. But if don't want to really commit to a website right now, what you could do is set up a nice little Excel spreadsheet. You know, ask have people comment. They could still comment the word for the link, and then every person that comments, you DM them, and then you just say, hey, what's your email, and what's your name and email, and I'll email it over to you, and then
Okay.
you just email it over to them, and then you just say their email and their name to their Google Excel sheet.
Okay.
That's like that's like the we call that the two-step verification. I was doing that back in like network marketing like a few years ago, just like making posts on Facebook, having people comment. They'll comment, every person I comment, I'll comment back. So I'm doubling up on the comments, making
Mhm.
Facebook want to push it out more and DMing them like, hey, thanks for engaging on my content. So you wanted this playbook. What's your name and the best email so I could email it over to you. Boom. They'll get the playbook and I get their email. It's like a trade.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, great question though. Callum, before we wrap things up, you got any questions based on like what we did cover while you were on?
Yeah, I had one question just because, and I'm sure I missed it, so I'll watch it back. But I saw the slide on like the branding and optimizing your profile. And it's
Hmm.
actually something that I've really been trying to think through, which is like I've been getting quite a lot of like views and likes over the last like month, 6 weeks on my reels, but I don't feel like I'm converting enough of those to like followers on my like podcast page. So
Hmm.
I'm curious from your perspective, like, what do you even think are like the most important things when it comes into like you're getting the views? How do you then convert those to like followers that
Hmm.
keep coming back? Because I'm assuming it depends more on like what they see on your profile and like the way that
Yeah.
you describe it and all that shit. Like how do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. And we was just talking about this earlier. Like, if people are not following, but you getting the views, and if you're not converting those views to followers, it's most likely because when they look at the overview of your page, um, it doesn't quite have the credibility just yet, right? Because you got to think about it. In the digital age, everybody putting out content. Content is king. You got some people putting out content 4 or 5 times a day.
Mm,
So people are being bombarded with information and content. So they have to, when they're looking, when they go to your page, they need to have a quick and easy way to assess and check your credibility and how trustworthy that you are going to be to deliver the content that made them go to your profile in the first place. So these things over here are going to be little small practices you can do to make your page a little bit more appealing, like having a consistent theme, making sure that your thumbnails have clear, bold words on it. So if you're giving them a different type of content, at least they can see and not waste their time, clicking videos that don't have no words on it, and then they realize they click a real estate video when they was looking for a motivation video, right?
mm.
So little things like that, having your niche tag in your profile, like you see mine says producer, my podcast page says podcast, hardly initiated says media news company. That makes it a little bit better as well. Have your content pillars and tagline in the title as well. And just making sure that you have that. Again, I think the consistent theme is going to be the biggest piece. Like when
Mm.
you go to my page and you scroll down, you see that I like to separate things by pillars. I got the quotes on the left side, I got car videos on the right side, and then I got podcasts in the middle or miscellaneous posts in the middle. Having a consistent theme, it doesn't always have to be pillared out like that, but just a lot let the theme alone can make a person want to hit that follow button.
Yeah. One other quick thing. So I see like even on the Harley Initiated page, I always think about like the tagline, like coming up with like a one line that like describes exactly what your podcast does. And theirs is like the make men great again thing, which
Hmm.
I guess is kind of appropriate because it's almost like picks up on the like political uh
Yeah. So play on words and it's polarizing, right?
yeah. But like the thing that I find difficult, and maybe I'm sure you've had the same experience with your own podcast. Talk about so much stuff on your pod that it's like it's hard to sum it up to like one line of like what is my podcast about? Like what do we talk about? It's hard to do it in one line. Like how did you guys even come up with that? Like that's what we're gonna use like in the as like the tagline for the show.
Yeah, that was just us knowing that we have a men's growth platform, but a platform that has a large woman following, and it's just again us wanting to antagonize our following. It
Yeah.
really was. That's really all it was, bro. It was just like it was like antagonize because now people already have a negative like make anything great again automatically makes people think about Trump when he had to make
Yeah.
America great again. So it's like you triggering me that way already, and then the fact that you put like it's just triggering and button pushing.
So you think people actually follow, even though that they're like kind of pissed off? They're like, 'cause that's the thing I think about. I'm like, do you want to create the like negative?
it's-
Because it almost seems like you're trying to like trigger the audience. And
nah,
that's
so
what you're
so
getting
it
across.
it's all filtering, right? Because like the people who are following us are the people who got the joke,
Mm,
right? Like that's the point. Like they got the joke. So that's just the fact that you follow. If you followed off of that alone, because not everybody is going even going to look at that. They most likely going to follow off of the content too. But if you looked at that and you still hit follow, that means you got the joke. That means you qualified. Like that means like if we got your email and we sold you on an event, you would most likely get tickets to the event because you get our humor, you get our like
you're like
you
part of the community, basically.
yeah
Like you're
yeah
verified. Oh
yeah.
yeah,
So you
I
do
get
little
it.
things. You do little things. Whether you, like some may say, oh, it's like you know, I make this joke right. The- It's like and it's not this is not my joke. I forget what comedian said it, but it's like the races that are like in front of your face races versus the races that are kind of like sneak dissing you behind your back but smiling in your face is like you would much he said he would much rather the blatant races because like at least I know where I stand with you. Like
Mm,
at least I know to not, give you a hug and give you all this love knowing that you would stab me in my back, right? It's like when you do things that call out, it's like calling out who your real fans are. So like when they doing these things, like when you tell them, hey, comment this, when you tell them, hey, go like my last post, when you tell them, DM me the word go, when you tell them, um, when you put out a poll and like when they doing these actions, they're telling you, I'm a fan. Because if they
mm,
wasn't a fan, they wouldn't have did it. And if
mm,
they're not fans, then the content not for you anyway. But at least I know what you like as a fan. And hey, like let's say I got three fans. One of my fans said they like this, but two of my fans said they like that.
mm,
I'm not going to totally not do that type of content, but I'm going to do more of this type of content because more of my fans like this.
mm.
So that's me saying, hey, I love y'all, so I'm gonna give y'all more of what y'all like. I'm gonna reward y'all for what y'all like. So that's more so the mindset of it.
Yeah. You know what I like as well? I feel like it's like you kind of want to cut out the people like in the middle, like the people that are just that they're like, oh, it's okay. Like
Yeah,
you
you
kind
want
of
them
want
to
to
pick a
cut that
side.
out. You kind of want both sides. Did you guys like experiment with different shit? 'Cause I'm thinking there's like a bunch of taglines I could
Oh,
try.
absolutely. It's all experimentation, right? Like I think that was even one of the things we like, yeah, like always try new things. Like if you see a post, like if you see like one of the blog pages that you follow post something, you like, "Hey, I could kind of twist this and make this relevant to my content, post it. See if it works. Like see if it sticks.
Mm,
But because if you don't, you don't know what you don't know. But if you do it, at least you could say, oh yeah, never try that again. Like I'm used to getting 500 likes, but this one only got 13 likes. This is clear. They didn't
yeah.
like this, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So just keep trying new things, bro, and something's gonna stick. And once you find the one, two things that stick, just keep doing that
Yeah, for sure.
while
No,
also trying new things, right?
yeah. No, I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So, that's really the lesson that I have for y'all. Those are all great questions that y'all asked. Of course, remember, if this was like really resonated with y'all and y'all really feel like again at the end of the day y'all getting some good content and you happen to know anybody else that would benefit from this content, you refer them over to the community and I'll literally reward y'all with a quick $5 Starbucks coffee. It won't be I say Starbucks just because Starbucks coffee is expensive, right? But it won't be like a gift card or anything like that. I'll literally like Zelle you, Venmo, however you like it. I'll send you a $5 referral for just spreading the news about the community as we trying to grow. But that's if you feel like you're getting some good value and people that you're inviting also going to get some value, right? They also going to come in here. They're going to be able to take away this information, be like, okay, yeah, this was helpful. So outside of that, y'all, I'll make sure that the replay is in the Discord. Y'all let me know if y'all got any questions in the Discord. We could, put some goals. Like if y'all explore on the side, you got some areas where you could, if you're looking for some accountability, tell us what your goal for the week is. If nobody else, I'll at the very least make sure that I'm holding you accountable. But I want that to be a place where we can kind of hold each other accountable, and be a little community. Chatting with each other, asking questions, networking amongst each other as well. I know not everybody in the community may have a podcast, but you two specifically, Colin and Crystal, y'all have podcasts, so y'all might even be able to feed off of each other, in the future as well, with giving ideas on what works and what doesn't work. So, definitely use the Discord as a way to network as well.
For sure. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night.